What we should do is use this as a justification to do a Japanese style, German style military occupation of Moscow to liberate the Muscovite, okay? I've seen a lot of cars catching fire in the United States during protests. Eyewitness report that a man shouted anti-war slogans in downtown Moscow before throwing Molotov cocktails at cars parked in Moscow city neighborhood. Damn. So Moscow is a little burning a little bit. So it's a little bit on fire. It's a little bit on fire. So, from what we know about this, of course, we're gonna have to wait for more information to come out. But from what we know, this is reportedly related to anti-war protests. Maybe later we'll find out it was like a car carburetor or whatever. But from what I've been told, this is related to a local protest that was going on in Moscow, anti-war protest that got possibly a little out of hand. They're saying there was an explosion in the financial district. My question is whether this was like, you know, somebody busting up the car and throwing like a fire bomb, or if it was like a bomb planted, or like whatever like caused this car to combust. Now, there's a lot of conclusions people are taking from this, you know? It looks like a car bomb, could be another NRA attack, you know, the National Republican Army, which a lot of journalists, some of which credible, are talking about, are like this new Republican pro-democracy army that's fighting against Putin from the underground and trying to assassinate all of his people. Could that be it? I mean, I still doubt the actual existence of the organization, in case it is like some sort of psyop or something like that. Who knows? But it's certainly something. Certainly something. Charlie Day as Luigi. That's a great casting decision, by the way. Charlie Day as Luigi is a good casting decision. I actually do like that for some reason. Jack Black as Bowser, great move. Charlie Day as Luigi, great move. Chris Pratt as Mario, terrible move. I mean, it got people talking about the movie, so maybe there's something to it, you know. But how about like Danny DeVito? Danny DeVito would have been a lovable Mario. I'm just saying. And plus, you have Charlie Day and Danny DeVito working together as Mario and Luigi, knowing that Charlie Day and fucking what's his name? I just said his name, Danny DeVito. They have great chemistry. We know that from Always Sunny. So I mean, it would have been great. It would have been great, man. DeVito would have been the best Mario. But instead, they've got the fucking most plainest white man you can possibly imagine. Anyway, back to the actual news. I'll just play this quick, but I mean, there's not much to it. So the question is this a protest that got out of hand? Is this a bomb planted by the National Republican Army? Is this more Russian infighting, which we're going to talk about later, about infighting between the Russian army and the Wagner Group? The Wagner Group is getting a little too big for their britches, possibly. Well, we really don't know at the moment. I know a lot of people are pointing to this saying, oh, here's the Iran moment. You know, here's the moment that we're going to see Russia become like Iran is right now, with the people rising up and doing all this. Look, okay, I'm going to be frank with you guys. I've seen a lot of cars catching fire in the United States during protests, okay? Some of them related to police brutality, some of them related to football, okay? A lot of cars in the United States we've seen catch fire. Just because a single car caught fire does not mean that now the revolution is coming, or that now Putin is gonna be like, oh my god, a car caught fire, we're gonna step down. So I do want to just tell everybody to calm down about this. Like, is it notable? Yes. We need to wait for more information to come out about it. Would it be good if we're going to see more instances of stuff like this? Absolutely. But the odds of that happening, I would say, are tremendously low. And hopefully this is a sign of things to come. But I mean, we do not have that confirmation yet. But what I will say is I do have a proposal based off of this. You know, maybe we should do the clickbait. It isn't clickbait. It's technically true. What we should do is use this as a justification to do a Japanese style, German style military occupation of Moscow to liberate the Muscovite, okay? That would be the true based move to take out of this display of violence between Muscovite on Muscovite, this Muscovite on Muscovite violence. Actually, speaking of that, I found this old clip today, and I saved it on the computer because anytime somebody brings up Yugoslavia, I want to play this clip. I found this on Twitter today, and it reminded me of what our policy should be towards Moscow after the war.
We should announce there's going to be American casualties. We should go to Belgrade, and we should have a Japanese, German-style occupation of that country.
Anyway, where were we? So yes, this is the most notable piece of protest in Russia as of late. We're gonna have to wait for more information to come out about this, but for now, I think this is one of the first displays of violence at some protesty type of event. I will say that we are seeing more recruitment centers being burned down, and we're seeing more people disobeying orders and fleeing the country, obviously from conscription. So it still feels like the process of war in Russia is still falling apart when it comes to the participation of the public in places like St. Petersburg, Moscow, Vladivostok, Dagestan. We're seeing some of the biggest anti-war sentiment flourishing. But I did want to show this because if the violence moves away from covert direct action, burning down recruitment centers while no one there, to just open riots, I mean, that could have a potential to explode. I mean, you never know when it's going to explode until it happens. Especially since mobilization is not going too well. Did you guys know what Shoigu claimed recently? I said this yesterday during the debate. Shoigu claimed, great debate yesterday, by the way. If you guys missed it, don't worry. We're going to upload it to YouTube tomorrow and release that. Shoigu claimed that over 200,000 Russian troops mobilized are already in Ukraine. That means on top of all the troops already in Ukraine, they've already deployed 200,000 troops. Now, there's multiple angles to tackle this. The first thing would be, if they got the troops in there that quickly, then they have been given basically zero refresher training or no training whatsoever. If they got them in there that quickly and they haven't had an impact on the battlefield yet from what we can see, then that's pathetic. If they doubled the size of the Russian army in Ukraine, and this is the result. I mean, we're going to have to wait a little longer to see the full effects, but there's also a decent chance Shoigu is just lying to make it sound like the mobilization is going better than it actually is. Yeah, just 1 million left to go. God, I don't know how Russian logistics are going to support this. Anyway, let's keep moving. Oh, is this is an eyewitness? Okay, let's see. Let's see what the eyewitness had to say about what happened here. Eyewitness report that a man shouted anti-war slogans in downtown Moscow before throwing Molotov cocktails at cars parked in Moscow city neighborhood. Damn. Okay. So it seems that I'm not the only person to have heard from the grapevine that this is an anti-war protest, is related to an anti-war protest. So it isn't just rumors that I'm hearing behind closed doors. Okay. So there already have been public statements on it. Based Russian, honestly based Russian. I will say, personally, if you are a Russian, an anti-war Russian, you want to do something like this, and I don't mean this as like, look, doing something like this is incredibly brave, especially considering the climate in Russia. But why this car? Like, what's the significance of this? Is it? I mean, this is like all I know. This is just a fucking random car, right? Like if somebody comes like it was illegally parked. It was fair game. It was illegally parked. Like, why the car? Why not, like, I don't know, a recruitment center or some government building or something more representative of the Russian government and Russian governmental power and Putin's regime? Why a car? Oh, it's a Russian car. You did. That's a good point. Fuck that car. Okay, I understand that there's a lot of anti-car sentiment. Fuck this car in particular. Yeah. Okay, got you. Okay, I didn't know this car was so threatening to you guys in chat. I didn't know. Probably too mad to plan it. That is true. Maybe it was like he went to the other targets, found nothing, and he was like, I want to throw this Molotov, and he just picked the car. Do partisan stuff at night against meaningful targets and get away clean? Yeah, I would say something like this. Unless it's like massive ass protests all throughout Moscow to just show the discontent amongst the people. Stuff like this. I mean, I don't want to say it's completely pointless because we're talking about it right now. We're like, oh shit, look at this fire in Moscow, anti-war damage. The public is starting to be against the war. Like, the thing is, we do know that this is significant, right? This is significant. At least it is somewhat significant, because I mean, it's just one car. But do you guys remember anything like this happening during our war in Afghanistan? We were in Afghanistan for 20 fucking years. Do you guys remember ever hearing like anti-war protests in DC got wild today as cars were set ablaze? Do you remember hearing that? Do you remember hearing over 1 million Americans have fled America to dodge the draft to Afghanistan? You don't remember that, do you? You don't remember that, do you? Because it didn't happen. It wasn't a thing. So it is significant that this is happening. It's showing that the strain of mobilization is starting to hit home. We saw acts of saboteur before this, but now we're seeing it spike since then. I think it's like the amount of saboteur actions against mobilization centers and recruitment centers have more than doubled. And if we see more actions like this, it's gonna get attention. It's gonna get attention, man. Because one of Putin's like big claims, there's like 3 things Putin can like base his legacy off of, right? Stability, regaining Russia's strength, and like, you know, hey, we're not literally Yeltsin economic desperation anymore, right? Because you gotta remember, Putin picked up the reins from Yeltsin. And so if the stability goes away while their economy is crashing, on top of a failed invasion of Ukraine, it's kind of hard to like justify Putin's continued existence as the leader of Russia, isn't it? Anyway, that's enough of that.